What's up everyone, I'm SystemCheck66. We've got some new Resident Evil 3 Remake details. So, first things first, one of my biggest fears is that they would cut enemies and some parts out of this remake that were in the original. They did it with RE2, the remake RE2. It didn't ruin the game overall, but I would have liked to see the giant moth, the spiders and the crows making a comeback. That wasn't the case, they cut those, and it seems like RE3 Remake is cutting some enemies as well. The Hunter Gammas aren't going to be in this version of the game. We'll still be getting the Hunter Betas, to my knowledge. I think I got it wrong in my last video where I said it was a Hunter Gamma, instead it's a Hunter Beta. The ones with the big growths on their arm and stuff, the cancerous looking fucking stuff that comes out of their arms, they're Hunter Betas. And Hunter Gammas are the Froggy Boys, so yeah, they're not making a return, which is unfortunate. I have a feeling they might cut Gravedigger. I really hope they don't. That is as iconic as the alligator battle in Resident Evil 2, and they had to put that back in. So if you've cut it, Capcom, and you're listening to this video, put the Gravedigger boss battle back into the game. Seriously, you need to make that boss battle and recreate it. But one thing that was revealed is there's going to be enemies that were cut from Resident Evil 2 making their way back into Resident Evil 3. So I'm thinking crows and I'm thinking giant spiders. The moth, I'm not too sure because obviously, you know, he was more of a Resident Evil 2 kind of boss. But having like some form of the moth in RE3 would be pretty cool. I want to see the brain demios, I want to see the brain suckers and just things like that making it back in, the giant worms. You know, RE3 always had a bigger roster of enemies than RE2, if I'm getting that right. And while I want them to include every monster, you know, in the remake, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to cut some of them, like they did with the Remake 2. And that was my biggest pet peeve with the game, the second game's remake, is they cut some of my favourite monsters out of the game. We didn't get the giant spiders, the crows, or the moth. But it didn't stop it from being an incredible remake nonetheless. Now, I know there's people who absolutely hate the remake, and I'm perfectly fine with that. That's cool. You know, I am an OG Resident Evil fan. I've been there from the beginning, so you can't really come at me and be like, you're stupid, you're not a real fan. I am, alright? And I thought the second game's remake was very well handled and very well done. Is it better than the original? No fucking way, of course not. Is it better than the remake of the first game? No fucking way. They didn't have to cut stuff in the first game's remake, and in fact they added stuff onto that game, you know, which made it even more incredible than the original. So the first game's remake topped the original, and it's like my second favourite Resident Evil game to date, next to the original of Resident Evil 2. But the second game's remake, that's my third favourite Resident Evil game to date. Definitely, it's up there with those two. I love it, personally. With the third game's remake, I do agree with some people, it's been rushed a little bit. It feels rushed a little bit. It feels like it's coming out too soon. I feel like the fact that it's coming out a couple of months after the second game's remake was released, they've probably rushed it a little bit. However, they probably started development on the game as soon as RE2 was like released, or even during the time of making RE2. That's my biggest fear, is that it's been rushed, it hasn't been left in the oven long enough, you know, and it's going to come out uncooked, essentially, is what I'm trying to get at. But saying that, it's all going to hinge on what the game's like when we come to play it. I'm still getting this game day one. I want to play this game. I don't think it's going to be getting 4 out of 10 scores, you know, like Resident Evil 6 did. And I do think it's going to be a good product. Like, Capcom and Resident Evil are in a renaissance type of period at the moment, where, you know, they can't really do too much wrong, I'll be honest with you. Game's length apparently is the same length as a single campaign in Resident Evil 2, so if you play as Leon or Claire, it will be the same length as their campaigns individually. Slightly longer apparently, so I'm thinking like maybe an hour longer or something like that, but it's not too much longer, is what I've heard. The Nemesis, from what I understood, is going to act a little bit like the Tyrant, but just smarter, basically, and he has multiple ways to hunt down Jill and kill her. Jill comes equipped with a dodge move, very reminiscent of the Revelations dodge move, so they're kind of bringing that over from Revelations, and it looked cool. I saw some gameplay and stuff. With the video I'm using, you'll probably see the gameplay there. So yeah, that was cool. It's going to be a little bit more action-packed, obviously, than Resident Evil 2, which kind of coincides and fits in line with, you know, the game's original counterparts. So RE2 was still survival horror, but ramped the action up a bit, and RE3 was just way more action-packed than Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 1. You know, it was still a survival horror, like, it was still a survival horror experience in game, but it ramped the action up like tenfold, definitely, with the Nemesis, the inclusion of the Nemesis, and just the amount of monsters there were in the game, and just everything, like from certain scenes and stuff when the gas station explodes to the Nemesis firing rockets at you and popping zombie heads with an electrified fence. Yeah, it ramped the action up tenfold. And then Code Veronica, strangely, brought everything back, you know, to that more slower paced survival horror experience. So yeah, I've also heard that Dev Team 1, who handled Resident Evil 7 and the second game's remake, are working on Resident Evil 8 at the moment. So it's a new team, essentially a new development team working on the remake of 3. And there's also another team as well, which I don't know too much about, that are also working on it as well. So they're like an outside development team. So yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting remake, just in the fact that we're getting it in April, you know, and it's only a couple months since the release of Resident Evil 2. So yeah, it's interesting, like, the amount of time it's taken them to create the game and actually get trailers up and stuff and just info. I do believe they leaked it on purpose, definitely, but it was some great misdirection with Project Resistance and all that other stuff. When it comes to Project Resistance and that being an add-on game, I guess it's cool as an add-on game, definitely. I hope we get Operation Mad Jackal, you know, in with the game. Also Project Resistance, but it does have me worried a little bit. The fact they're bundling something like Project Resistance in with the package makes me think that they're not going as in depth as the original Resident Evil 3 Nemesis did, with choices and things like that. I feel like it's going to be maybe more linear as an experience and less replayable. I could be completely wrong, 100% wrong about that, but I do feel like that's why they're bundling in Project Resistance. I have a worry. That's why they are. Look, it isn't going to matter to me, really. Like, Resident Evil is an amazing series. It's my favourite series of all time. I will happily replay the campaign over and over again, even if it has like 3 different endings or something. I will be replaying that experience over and over again because, you know, I've loved the recent Resident Evil games, 7, RE2 Remake, you know, the Revelations games, Revelations 1 more than 2. So yeah, that's the thing. Like, I will happily replay the game. I hope it doesn't just stick to a very linear experience. I hope we do have choices and stuff, and there is a lot more replayability added into it. So yeah, we'll just have to see. Like I said, it all hinges on when we get our hands on the game at the end of the day. But I do share some of the worries that other fans do, and I do agree with you guys that, you know, it might have been rushed a little bit too quickly, in my personal opinion. Like I said though previously, the proof will be in the pudding when we get to play the game, sit down and actually play through the game. So, you know, it won't take us very long to get through it, because RE2 and also RE7 were quite short experiences. If it wasn't for Claire's campaign, it would have been a very, very short experience. I still would have played it 4 to 5 times like I'd done anyway, but yeah, just having one campaign wouldn't have been as good as having, you know, the 2 scenarios, and also the second plays as they're known in the remake. Even though second plays, I can't even remember the differences in those B scenarios, to be honest, other than Marvin already being dead and being a zombie. So yeah, like, we'll just have to see. Like, maybe they've just pumped this out because they've got 2 teams involved and they've done a really cracking job with it. I don't fucking know. That's what I'm trying to say. No one knows what's been going on behind closed doors at Capcom. Maybe they have, having those 2 teams, they have managed to successfully make a remake that's better than the second game's remake or the first game's remake. We just don't know. So time will tell. More info, more gameplay that we get, more trailers, we'll get to see the game a little bit more, and I'll get to give you guys my opinions and my thoughts on everything as it progresses, you know, as the game progresses. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to keep updated with any content that I upload. And until next time, I've been System Check 66 and I'm signing out. Peace.